The Spoke Zarathustra is one of the greatest philosophical works from Nietzsche. This is the very book where Nietzsche talked about the death of God. This book takes the Zoroastrian prophet Zarathustra as a central figure, and through him, Nietzsche shares his philosophy. The book begins when Zarathustra decides to descend from the mountains to share his wisdom with the common man. His journey mein, he encounters various characters and situations with whom he shares his philosophy. In The Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche talks about a symbolic representation of the journey towards overcoming self and realizing our true nature. Here, one transforms from man to camel to lion, and then from lion to a child. Each representation talks about a different stage of life that makes one go through a transformation one after the other to finally meet self or overcome it. It all begins with a man, an individual who is part of society. He grows in the society, he is taken care of by the society. The man goes through life having his own experiences, desires and his own goals. Until he grows, he is now told by the same society to let go of that self and carry the load of others who till now were carrying him. Here, a man begins to transform from an individual to a camel. Just like a camel accepts the burden with no questions, so does the man. The man sacrifices his desires and surrenders to his masters and the authority, where he is told what to think and not how to think. This camel is then carried through the desert with the burden of the master and by the masters. The camel represents the burden and heavy load of expectations, traditions, social norms and also morality which needs to be carried forward. The camel shows the stage of acceptance and obedience to social norms, hierarchies and values. He seeks comfort and security within these boundaries of conformity, striving to meet social standards, seeking approval and validation. Eventually becoming a slave to the system, giving up his own individuality and freedom. From one among many, he becomes the many. But one thing that is constant in this universe is change, and change is a part of a growing society. Eventually there comes a stage of frustration and awareness leading to realization, jahan par the camel realizes what he lost in this pursuit was himself. This marks the beginning of another transformation, from camel to lion, the search for that lost individual again, the search for exploration. But this search begins with rebellion against the norms and the authority. The hardships and the struggle the camel goes through is what makes it strong enough to fight and also gives it courage to take a fight against the strong old system. Nietzsche refers to this strong old system as the dragon, which the lion takes on. The exact dragon that brought him up and gave him life. The lion must now charge on this dragon that it once loved. The lion doesn't start a fight against the dragon to kill it, because one cannot destroy age-old traditions and systems. What it fights for is his freedom, freeing himself from any sort of oppression and domination, allowing him ultimately to be a part of his own desert. This stage is where it breaks out of what limits it and takes back the control from those who all this while defined him. The lion is a stage where an individual doesn't seek to create his own values and morality, but seeks to have the freedom to do so, to find meaning and purpose for the self. The lion represents the struggle for an individual's liberation and independence, the courage to challenge the existing system of people in power and control, जो अब तक तुम्हारी जिंदगी के फैसले लेते आ रहे हैं. It goes as far as inspiring other camels who all this while accepted their faith, lost their identity and surrendered to the authority. This is an important part of the transformation, but Nietzsche के हिसाब से चीजें यहाँ खत्म नहीं होती. The lion then goes through a final transformation. After overcoming the social pressure, social norms and oppression, it gradually releases the resentment and anger that caused the rebellion. The lion decides to let go of the bitterness, hate and negativity fueled within him, becoming more open to the world and embracing positivity, becoming empathetic and compassionate. A profound journey from a rebel to an innocent. The lion becomes a child. Nietzsche writes, "The child is innocence and forgetting, a new beginning, a game, a self-propelled wheel, a first movement, a sacred yes for the game of creation. My brothers, a yes is needed. The spirit now wills his own will, and he who had been lost to the world now conquers his own world." The child discovers the playful nature of life, freeing himself from the seriousness and begins to enjoy life, cherishing every single moment. The child has fun in creation and in creating something new. The child is filled with gratitude and is thankful to be alive. The sandcastle this child builds will then go on to become the dragon of the new age. This was the whole journey, where a camel, though powerful, chooses to surrender to its master. Until the dragon isn't able to serve the depths of the individual, the camel realizes that it can rebel and stand for himself. He seeks more, he seeks freedom, The camel then transforms into a lion, starting a fight against a structure, a system for freedom. Eventually, the anger and resentment cools down, which makes the lion a child. This doesn't make the child powerless, instead it makes it wise and powerful. It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in war. The sad part of this transformational journey is that not everyone gets to become a child.